At Thanksgiving, my mother tapped her glass, smiling the way she always did when she wanted the room to look at Lily. Sister's wedding was great. She said loudly, "So, Kat, when's yours?" A few people laughed. My father kept carving turkey like it was urgent work. Lily didn't say a word, just watched me, too. Still too careful. I set my fork down. "I already had mine," I said. "Y'all get invitations." The room dropped into silence so sharp it felt physical. Then me dad whispered, "We never got them." So I reached into my bag, and that's when everything they'd been hiding finally surfaced. Growing up, I learned dearly that my family loved symmetry, perfect photos, perfect milestones, perfect stories to tell other people. And in every single one of those stories, Lily was the center. I wasn't bitter about it as a kid. I just assumed that was how families worked. One child shined, the other made room. By the time we were teenagers, the pattern wasn't a pattern anymore. It was a structure, a system. My mother curated Lily's life like it was a brand new showroom collection, dance classes, cheer trios, a whole gallery of awards hung in the hallway. Whenever I had my own moments, science fair ribbons, a college acceptance letter, Mom would smile appallingly and ask if I could take the picture later because she needed good light for Lily's new headshot. I didn't break the cycle. I adapted to it. I got good at watching, learning, anticipating, and I got even better at surviving quietly. Seattle changed me, though. Moving 3 hours away for work wasn't rebellion. It was oxygen. I built a life, if I chose. Small apartment with tall windows, stacks of research notes everywhere, shirts that smelled like Thekavy Ethan made every morning. My job analyzing water and environmental data might not impress the people my mother wanted to impress, but it mattered. It made sense to me. And Ethan, he saw me in ways my own family never even attempted. He listened. He paid attention. He remembered things. His family noticed me, too. Not because it performed for them, but because they cared. The first time Helen hugged me, she didn't let go immediately the way my mother did, like she was done checking a box. She actually held me warm and certain. She asked about my work. She remembered specifics. Robert did, too. They weren't perfect people, but they were present, and that was new. So, one of them proposed on a foggy June morning by the water. I said, yes without hesitation. We didn't want a grand production. We chose a small coastal table, invited the people who truly knew us, kept everything simple Andreal. The only thing I wished for quietly, stubbornly, was that my parents and Lily would show up. That maybe Florence they'd choose me. I designed the invitations. Myself, had them printed dearly, and mailed them with signature required because I knew my family's habit of misplacing things that weren't useful to them. I triple-checked addresses. I refreshed tracking numbers like it was a ritual. When everything showed as delivered, I let myself breathe. Then the silence came. No calls, no texts, not even a casual congrats in the family group chat. Weeks passed, the wedding passed, and still nothing. I told myself 100 stories to keep from facing the truth. Maybe the mail got mixed up. Maybe they were planning a surprise. Maybe they were waiting for the right moment. But deep down, a colder thought took root. Someone didn't want those invitations in. And I didn't know how right I was until Thanksgiving night. The silence after the wedding didn't just sit there. It expanded, seeped into every corner of me life like a slow leak. At first, I waited. People get busy. I told myself, they'll call, they'll text, they'll at least ask why they didn't get an invitation. But days became weeks, and quiet turned into something heavier, something intentional. I tried to reach out. A call to my mother went to voicemail. Asterisk a message to my father got appellate. I'll call later, which never came. The group chat, the one we'd had since I was in college, no longer showed me name in it. I wasn't removed loudly. I was erased quietly. I mentioned it Tolthan one night while washing dishes, trying to sound casual. Maybe it's a glitch, I said, though my voice betrayed him. He dried his hands, glanced at me, and asked, Kat, did they ever respond to the invitations at all? I shook my head. Not even once. He didn't accuse. He didn't push. He just said, let's get the logs. He helped me navigate our email activity, something I never would have known how to do alone. And there it was, the access logs for family. Email. One invitation notice opened, deleted, permanently erased. Thedema stamp was unmistakable. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't forgetfulness. Someone had gone out of their way to make Serena one saw my messages. The worst part? I already knew. Who? I could picture Lily standing in the kitchen of our childhood home, flipping through mail like she controlled the flow of communication. She had always been the gatekeeper. Theon mom trusted with her appointments, the one dad asked to sort the bills. Theon who screened calls and decided what was worth interrupting dinner. If something passed through that house, it passed through Lily first. The more I thought about it, the more the pieces lined in a way that made my stomach burn. She was preparing for her own massive September wedding. 350 guests, designer gown, custom everything. Her entire identity revolved around the spotlight. My wedding, even small and quiet, had the potential to draw attention away from hers. And Lily never shared attention easily. Still, I needed proof. So I pulled up the tracking receipts. I'd saved for packages, for signatures, my name as the sender, their address as the destination, and the signature at the bottom. One I recognized. Immediately, Lily's. I stared at the curl of her handwriting, felt my throat tighten. She hadn't just forgotten. She hadn't just misplaced them. She intercepted them. She made sure nobody saw my wedding at all. It then touched my arm gently. Kat, what do you want to do? I didn't have an answer right away. Anger would have been easier. Rage would have made sense. But what I felt was something deeper. Something sharp and old. A familiar round reopening. What do you do when the people you love choose not to see you? Thanksgiving was coming. I almost skipped it. Almost let them keep pretending I didn't exist. But pretending was what built this mess in the first place. So I made a different choice. I went and I carried the truth with me. Thanksgiving always looked perfect. From the outside, white blacklit polished silver. A candle in center flickering like it belling in a magazine spread. But the moment it stepped through the door, I felt it thattled unspoken tension settling over Miss Hooders like a familiar coat. I never risked to wear. Lily was already posing for photos near the fireplace. Her husband adjusting her hair like they were, shooting a holiday card. My mother fussed over the turkey, narrating every detail of Lily's September wedding Tonian with an earshot. My father poured wine mechanically, eyes already tired. Not one person asked how I'd been. No Tony mentioned the wedding they almost. I took my seat at the table directly across from Lily. She didn't look at me. She didn't have to. Silence can be a performance. And she'd always been good at performing. Dinner began with the usual script. Praise for Lily's dress, her venue, her guest list, her connections. Every sentence was a reminder that they'd shown up for her and over without hesitation. While they couldn't bother to acknowledge a single detail of my own life-changing day. Then my mother tapped her glass. Sister's wedding was great, she said brightly, glancing at Lily as if to confirm. So, Kat, when's yours? Theodable chuckled. Even the turkey knife in me father's hand paused like it didn't which side to take. Asterisk. Lily kept her eyes on her plate. Too still, too careful. That told me everything. For years, I would have laughed it off. Let jab slip under my skin. Pretended it didn't hurt. But not this time. Note after everything they buried. I set my fort. Down gently. I already had mine, I said, my voice steady. 6 months ago. The shift in the room was immediate. Like all the air had been yanked out at once. I waited a beat. Let the silence land, then added, "You got invitations." Forks froze. Eyes widened. My mother's smile collapsed. My father blinked like he wasn't sure he'd heard correctly. Across from me, Lily's face didn't move. That was the tell she knew exactly where this was going, and she couldn't stop it. Cat, my father said carefully, "We never get any invitations." There it was, Thiely, the familiar deflection. The story they'd rehearsed without even knowing they were rehearsing it. I felt something inside me settle. Not anger, not revenge, clarity. "I figured you'd say that," I replied softly. I reached into my bag, not rushing, not dramatic, and placed my phone on the table. The screen glowed, reflecting in Thiestonware, the candlelight catching its edges like a blade. Every pair of eyes locked onto it. This was the line I'd never crossed before, the boundary I'd never drawn. The moment I stopped allowing myself to be rewritten. And Aussie tapped the screen to open their seats. The truth rose in my chest like a tide, ready to break. The moment my thumb touched the screen, the room shifted. It wasn't loud. It wasn't chaotic. It was quiet in the way storms get quiet right before they level a coastline. The receipts opened in a neat little list, for deliveries, for signatures, all marked received. It zoomed into the first one and wrote Ted's phone so the entire table could see. The looping confidence signature at Thebatom was unmistakable. Lily. My mother gasped softly, her hand flying to Hermith. My father leaned forward like he needed to see the truth up close or it wouldn't count. Ryan stiffened in his scare, his eyes darting from the screen to his wife like someone had suddenly spoken a language he didn't know she understood. Lily didn't move. Her face didn't even twitch. I could feel my pulse in my fingertips. But my voice came out calm, too. Calm. "These were delivered April 23rd, I said. All 4 invitations signed for by Lily. Dead silence again. But this time, it wasn't surprise. It was exposure. "Cat," my father whispered this. "This must be a mistake." "It's not," I said, swiping to the next screenshot. "This is the tracking log from the Postal Service. Priority mail. Signature required. All confirmed. All delivered." I paused, then added, quietly, and all intercepted. My mother shook her head. "No, no, no. That makes no sense. Lily would never." "Oh, stop," I said gently, not harsh. "Just don't. You keep saying what Lily wouldn't do, but you never look at what she actually does." That landed. My mother froze. Ryan finally spoke, his voice low. "Lily, did you sign for these?" Lily blinked. Not slow, not thoughtful, but mechanical, like she was trying to reboot her expression. "I don't remember. Maybe sometimes I grabbed the mail, but I didn't see any invitations." It stayed quiet. I learned a long time ago that silence is sometimes louder than any accusation. So I let it sit. My father, staring hard at Lily, now said, "You didn't see for packages from your sister around the time you knew she was engaged. It's not my job to track over Ian's mail." Lily snapped back the first crack in her composure, sharp enough to cut. It was the wrong move. My mother reached toward her. "Sweetheart." "No," I said, my voice still calm. "Let her talk. She's been talking for years." Lily glared at me. "What's that supposed to mean?" I didn't answer the question. It swiped to the last screenshot, the email Ethan helped me access. "This," I said quietly, "is the activity log for Thefamily email account. The wedding announcement email I sent in April was opened from this house, then deleted immediately." My father's jaw tightened. Who has access to that account? Every Yoni at the table knew the answer. Every Yoni always knew the answer. Lily finally broke. I didn't delete anything she said too fast. I tilted my head. "Then why does it show your device ID?" Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. Maybe I clicked it by accident. "I don't know. Why are you attacking me?" "I'm not attacking you," I said. I'm showing y'all what you did. My mother exhaled harshly. Why would Lily ever hide your invitations? Why? Would she sabotage your wedding? That's ridiculous. There it was. The sentence she'd been polishing me entire life. The defense she used for every bruise Lily ever left on me. Why? I repeated. Because my wedding happened in June. Hers was in September. I turned to Lily. Because you didn't want anyone talking about mine before yours. Lily flinched like I'd slapped her with the truth she'd been trying to outrun. That's insane, Lily hissed. You always twist things to make me look bad. No, I said, voice steady. You did that yourself. Rion's chair scraped the floor as he stood. Lily, is this true? She stared down at her napkin, her breath shaking. I don't. This is everyone always thinks Kat is so innocent. She never needs anything. She never wants anything. She ruins nothing for anyone. She just exists and makes Avirion feel what I asked softly. Makes Avirion feel what she shot to her feet. Feel guilty. Feel small. Feel like Shadow doesn't even have to try. Ah, there it was. The real confession. Not about the invitations, but about every year before them. I leaned back slightly. So, y'all would my wedding because what? Because it was quiet. Because it didn't compete with your 6-tier cake and rented string quartet. That's not, she gasped. But the truth was already hanging in the air like smoke. Kat, my father said desperately. We didn't know. If we'd known, we would have. You would have come? I finished for him. After years of missing every milestone. After forgetting every birthday. After making sure Lily's needs always came first. He closed his eyes. My mother's facet was dead. You can't put all that on us. We did our best. No, I said. You did your best for Lily. For me. You did the bare minimum and called it fairness. Lily sat down abruptly, her shoulders collapsing. Even she couldn't defend it. The weight of decades pressed into me chest, not as grief anymore, but as clarity. I looked at each of them, the people I had begged silently for years to see me, and I finally told the truth. I didn't lose my family tonight, I said. I just stopped pretending I had one. My mother gasped. Kat, don't you dare talk like that. Why? I said, because it threatens the story you built. The one where Lily is perfect. Dad is neutral. You are the peacemaker, and I'm the problem. No one said you're the problem. Dad whispered. You didn't need to say it. I replied. You showed it over and over. Ryan sank back into his chair as if, watching the pieces of his marriage arrange themselves into a shape he didn't recognize. Lily whispered, Kat, please. That single word, please, carried years of fear, guilt, and the sudden realization that her control was gone. I stood slowly, pushing my chair back with a soft scrape. I'm done begging for a place at this table, I said. I'm done asking you to show up, form. Asterisk, I'm done pretending Lily's choice didn't hurt me. I'm done accepting your silence as anything but agreement. It took a breath. I'm done. My father stood too, reaching out. Kat, don't go. We can talk. We are talking. I said the first time, and for the last time under thesaterms. My mother's eyes brimmed. We can't fix this. You can't fix what you refuse to acknowledge, I replied. And your fist for yours. I picked up my coat, feeling lighter with every inch. It pulled it over my shoulders. As I walked to the door, I heard Lily sob quietly. I heard my mother mutter my name like a plea. I heard my father say, we should have checked. We should have asked. But thy remorse wasn't my responsibility, Neri. I opened the door, cold air rushing in, and paused just long enough to say, you didn't miss my wedding. Yao chose not to see it. Then I stepped outside, letting the door close behind him. Not loudly, not dramatically, just firmly. A clean final line drawn, and for the first time in my life, the silence that followed belonged to me. Ethan opened the door before I even reached it, like he'd been listening for me footsteps. One look at my face, and he didn't ask what happened. He just dropped his arms around me and held on until the shaking stopped. No questions, no judgment, just presence. Something my family had never mastered. The next morning, his parents invited us over for a simple breakfast. No ceremony, noppity, just warm food, real conversation, and the kind of attention that doesn't have to be earned. Helen squeezed my hand and said, "Your family here, not because you married my son, because you met her." A week later, Lily sent a long mail, therapy, soft apologetic, admitting more than I expected. I read it. I didn't reply. My dad called every few days. Small steps, careful steps. I let him try. Then he found one of my wedding invitations buried in a storage box in the garage. Proof of everything I already knew. He mailed it to me quietly without commentary. That was the closest come to an apology that felt real. My mother never reached out. And for the first time, that absence didn't feel like a wound. It felt like an answer. Used to believe family was something you protected, no matter what it cost you. But standing in my own home now, Ethan cooking dinner, laughter, drifting in from friends who choose me every single day, I finally understood the truth. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up. It's who listens. It's who stays. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from the people who never learned how to hold you. If any part of this felt familiar, tell me where you're watching from and share your story below. And don't forget to subscribe for the next asterisk.